Okay, let's now look at the commonly misspelled words, and you can see there are actually more commonly misspelled words than there are hood words. So that is going to be a tricky week. Okay, I'm going to go through them very carefully because they're tricky. So the first one, license, number 8. Now license, this is going to be really annoying, but license has 2 spellings. Okay, and bear this in mind because who knows what might happen in the spelling test. There might be a bonus question. License can also be spelt with a C. Okay, now I'm going to explain to you the difference. If you don't think that you're going to remember the difference, then you must concentrate on the spelling here with the S. Okay, so the license always is spelled L-I-C-E, like lice. Okay, and then it's got N-S, N-S-E, but sometimes it's N-C-E. Okay, and the reason for the difference is one of them is a verb and one of them is a noun. That is the difference. Now, it is very difficult to remember which is which. And I can tell you that the one with the S here is the verb, the doing word. So, for example, you would use it in a sentence like this. I can license you to go and drive a car. Okay? But if you were to have a driving license, that would have a C in it. Okay? And I think it's a bit, I'm going to be honest, I think it's a bit strange that in this list is the S word. I would put the C word in because you're going to use the C word more often than the S word. Okay? So a license with a C is a C is a noun and S is a verb. And this is a common way of using S's and C's. It's also done in the word practice. And it's done, so practice with a C. I am going to practice my violin. I don't think anyone in the class plays a violin, do they? I'm going to practice my violin. That is going to have an S in it. But I am going to go to violin practice. That's a noun. And that would have a C. Okay? And the other one is advise and advice. Okay? And I'm going to be honest with you. When I'm trying to remember which is which, I always take out the word license or practice. And I put in advise or advice because I know which one is which in advise and advice because you say them differently. So, for example, I'm looking for some advice. That's got a C in it. I'm looking for some practice. I'm looking to do some practice. Or I need a license. That is all going to be C. Okay? So if you're saying, is it driving license? Is it driving advice? Yes, it's driving advice. So that's got a CE in it. But if I'm going to say I'm going to practice playing the violin, I'm going to advise playing the violin. Well, that's advise has got an S in it, so practice has got an S in it. And I'm going to license playing the violin. Of course, you don't need a license to play the violin. I'm going to license playing the violin. That is also going to have an S in it. Okay, so S, that is a long explanation. But if you can just ignore that explanation if you want. That is a lesson for life rather than for Friday's spelling test. You can use that if you want to, or ignore it and just remember it's got an S at the end. Not at the end, the second last letter, it's got an E at the end. Okay, the next word, loneliness. Lonely, that starts with lone. Lonely would normally have a Y, but we've taken away the Y. We did ness not that long ago, and we're adding ness. Loneliness. Some of you might have had that with loneliness, I'm not sure. Okay, number 10 is losing. This does not say loosing. I want to ask, how would you spell loosing? The answer is it would have a double O. Remember we talked about this, about people write on social media, so-and-so is such a looser. Well, looser is actually an adjective, it's not a noun, so you can't be a looser. You can be a loser, but to be a loser, you only need one O. Just like losing only needs one O, but loosing, which is not here, is two O's. Okay, number 11, lying. I hope that lying is not something that people do lightly. I mean, everybody tells lies, but lying is not good. Unless, of course, you're talking about it's nighttime and you're lying in bed, in which case it's perfectly good. There's nothing better. Okay, number 12, marriage. Now, marriage and carriage are pronounced the same way and spelt the same way. Okay? And marriage and carriage come from the words marry and carry. So you could say, I'm going to marry you, I'm going to carry you. Okay? I'm going to do neither to you, by the way. I'm not going to... So marriage and carriage... Okay, the reason I mention that is because of the I. Okay? It's not M-A-R-R-A-G-E. It's M-A-R-R-I-A-G-E. That A is silent when you're talking. You don't say marriage because it's too difficult to say. It's pointless. You don't say carriage. You just say marriage and carriage. The I is actually silent, but it is there to remind us that the word marriage comes from marry, and the word carriage, which is not on your list, but they're spelled exactly the same way, comes from carry. Okay, that is really important. Marry age. The I is silent. It's marriage. But it's there when you're spelling it. Really important that you remember it. Okay, next one, mathematics. Now, the thing I'm going to point out to you, which is not important for spelling, but is important, is that mathematics ends in an S. Okay? Do you know why I'm pointing this out? That's right, because when you shorten it to maths. Maths also has an S at the end of it. Now, the good thing about mathematics is you pronounce it all. You say all the letters. It's unlike marriage. You pronounce that E in the middle. The thing to remember is that it's an E. Because you say math, ma-tics. Okay, so you pronounce both of those A's. You pronounce it like an ick at the end. It's just that E in the middle that you're thinking. To be honest, if you didn't think about it, you might want to put an I in there. But it's not an I. It's an E. Mathematics. Mathematics. You might even think it sounds like an A. It's not. Mathematics. Mathematics. Okay? Then we've got medicine. Medicine. It's got an I. Medi. It comes from medic. Okay? So, for example, if you know how to spell medic, which you should be able to do, it's quite easy. It's spelled like it sounds. Medic. And then you're just adding I-N-E at the end. Medicine. And the reason it's not pronounced medicine is because of the I after the C. That I is softening the C and making it into a S sound. Okay, so it comes from medic. It's medic, I-N-E, but you pronounce it medicine. The thing to remember as well is actually it sounds as if you should be saying that there shouldn't be an E at the end. Okay, because you actually pronounce it medicine. You're actually pronouncing in. But that E is there and it's just a silent E. It's not medicine or medicine. Unless, of course, you have made a scene, for example, by being naughty in the supermarket. Sometimes that happens with children. They make a scene. But you won't have made a scene. That's not you. It's medicine. We pronounce it medicine, so the E at the end of it is basically silent. It's not a magic E word. It's not a medicine. It is just an E. It's just for show. E's sometimes just shove themselves into words to show off, because E is the most common letter in the English language. It's not that common for beginning words, but in the middle and at the end of words, it is the most common letter. Okay, and the final one is miniature. Now, miniature is a lot like marriage, okay? Because it's got that I again. Because miniature, yes, it comes from mini. So it does have the full word mini in it. And if it helps you, you can pronounce it miniature. But it is pronounced miniature. It's pronounced miniature, but it's spelled miniature, and it's ature. And the T-U-R-E makes that ture sound like you get in picture and adventure. So miniature is a tricky word. These are all tricky words. I'm going to say mathematics is the hardest. Miniature's your next. Lying's your easiest. Not because lying is easy, unless it's, of course, nighttime and you're lying in bed. Remembering, though, with lying, when you say the word lie, so, for example, if you say, I'm going for a lie down, you would spell lie, L-I-E. But when you write, I'm lying down, the E becomes the Y. It's like the opposite way round of, often the Y changes to I-E or I, but here the I-E changes to Y. It's the opposite way around, and you're adding I-N-G. Okay? So, I hope you do well with your spelling test, and we'll hear how you get on Friday.